Welcome in, welcome once again to the newest edition of 3 In, 3 Out, the most unique Seahawks recap show in the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner. Coming out and give a follow on Twitter at Clinton Bond. I said Twitter. I said Twitter, Brandon, very pronounced. And I am joined by the one, the only, the great Brandon Schultz. And you can find him out on Twitter at SeahawkersPod. We're all at Twitter here, Brandon, because we're celebrating today, Brandon. We're celebrating life. We're celebrating 2023. We're celebrating eliminating the Jets suck from the playoffs once again. Mike White ate it. We are celebrating our Seattle Seahawks 23-6, big W at home versus those lowly Jets. Brandon, I'm soaking it in. I'm just, playoff schemiology be darned. I'm soaking this one in. How about you, man?
Hey, as we mentioned on the recap show, Seahawks now undefeated in 2023. We're starting out the year undefeated the way it should be. Now all they have to do is finish the year undefeated, and it would be a glorious, glorious year.
Yeah, I agree. And just taking the math forward, that would pretty much put us, maybe in this year's playoffs, but we'd be like 16-0 next year because that's 2023. Not just a hat rack, my friend, right?
There's one of those games that we don't have much control over, whether or not we go undefeated or how deep we go undefeated into the 2023 calendar year. But we do have Ryan 911 coming in with a $9.99 super chat. Brandon knows what happens when we win.
Yeah, thank the maker that Brandon does, because it's been, what is that? Stained, maybe? It's been a while, right? Is that Stained, I believe? Nickelback, or it's one of those.
I'm going to say Stained over Nickelback.
Say Stained. Okay. Okay. So it's been a while. So sometimes, I'm going to be 45 this year, Brandon. 45 in like 2 months. Wow, 2 months and like old. 25 days. It's old, man. I'm feeling old. So I'm actually feeling good, but I don't remember crap anymore, Brandon. I certainly don't remember. I know we only have one rule. We might as well get to it since we're talking about it already. Thank you to our Ryan out there. Brandon, you just, help me out. What's it's 2023. I'm already forgetful. Yeah. What is our one rule on 3 In, 3 Out?
This show is 3 in, 3 out. We talk about the ins, we talk about the outs, and we have one rule.
Yes.
And that is when the Seahawks win, we don't go with the out. When the Seahawks win, we start with an in.
We start with an in. I am so fired up to start with an in. It's been a bit since that Rams game, and this game felt a lot better. We'll talk about all the reasons why. So, Brandon, why don't we just get on to it, hop to it, hit the whammy. Let's start this thing with an in. What do you say? I like that. I need a little something there too. All right. So
that's how you know I was.
That's how you know. That's how you know. So, all right. So, hey, there is a lot to like in this game, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Before we do get, to all those ends, man, like, I saw some beautiful things, Brandon. I saw our edge players standing up across the center, right between the center and guard gap a couple times. I saw, we prevented the Jets as much as they kind of stunk. The Jets had chances to get back in this game, but they kind of pulled an us versus the Chiefs, where they would get to like the 35 or 40 and just stall out. But it was typically because we made some good plays too. And Mike White was a little inaccurate with the flap jacket and the whole thing already, but there was a lot to like. And this first in, Brandon, I am going right to play one from scrimmage, not the darn it. I almost had it. I tried to go fast. Go ahead. Say his name again. Godwin
Igwebuike.
I'm going to get it by the end of the year. I got a little bit of time left. Igwebuike. We're not talking about his kickoff return, which was, solid. We are talking about play one. We got 12 personnel. You got Lockett in motion, left to right. And let's see. He drags Quincy Williams with him, who's kind of, coming into frame across the way there. You got Delu. Delu doubles on Quincy Williams real nicely. And what I loved about this play, Brandon, was, K9 shoots through for 60 yards, but can we give some love to the blocking between Delu and Parkinson? Parkinson first, has to get Lawson. And he we talked a couple of weeks ago about, hey, how come our tight ends aren't chipping when they got to get to the second level? Like, how come, or chipping on when they have to go out for passes, right, in routes? Well, this particular game, I saw a lot from Parkinson that kind of went against the narrative of him not being kind of tough inside. So on this one, man, he first puts a nice little seal on Lawson, and then he gets to their strong safety, number 3, Whitehead, right? So then he gets out to number 3, Whitehead, and then Fant picks up Lawson and drives him inside. And then there's that nice little gap. K9 busts through there for 60 yards. Brandan, how fired up were you? Play 1 to see good blocking, great running, good times, great oldies, 60 yards downfield to start this thing out. How'd you feel about it?
I love the start. I wanted more of it. Even when it starts out that way, I'm like, well, why can't they just do it? Run that same play, do it every time. But I love seeing Walker break it out. It put him down inside of the red zone real quick and able to close it off with the touchdown to Colby Parkinson. I love. There's even more things that I love about that play, and
let's hear it.
I kind of want to save it.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. You save that. We did start with an in, which also means we get a little something later too, a little cherry on top. Yeah. So we'll talk about that later. Okay. Brandan, I was thinking, you know what? Hit the whammy. I'll come back and tell you what I was thinking about. How about that? Nice and pithy. Oh, we love Nightbot. If you're not watching this on YouTube, youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast. If you are, we love you. Hit the like. Make sure you're subscribed, share the Hawker, get out on Twitter, share it on Facebook, wherever you talk to other folks. Go ahead. Like when we win, we don't only start with an in, but the Hawkera, the collective Hawkera rises. So Brandan, I forget if I was texting you or Facebook messaging you, one of the ways to communicate these days in 2023. And I was like, hey, this is going to be a celebration. I'm going to call a small audible because I wasn't in the mood to nitpick a game where we only gave up 6. Yeah, there were some challenges. We had some holes, and they could run the ball early, a couple of tackling issues early, but overall we gave up 6 stinking points. So Brandan, are you okay would you be comfy with if I say, what if we just run the table and go an all in celebration? Because why not? Why not celebrate our perfect record in 2023? What do you think?
Okay, so there's the one rule for the show when we start with an in.
Right.
There's the one unspoken rule that we kind of broke before, and that's when we have a shutout.
Yeah.
We go 6 straight ins.
Yes.
And now so now for unwritten rule number 1, subpart A, we go with 6 straight ins when we get the shout out, or if Clinton doesn't feel like nitpicking, we go 6 straight ins.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like the rule book's getting messy, but I'm down with it.
All right, good. So we are good. There it is. That's it. Ryan saying
Ryan's our executive producer. He said 6 ins, so now we have to do it.
Listen, you can't argue with the money man. So we're going 6 ins because I didn't feel like nitpicking tiny things where we only gave up 6 points, or it's like, all right, we should have won. We should have won 34-6 or 31-6. Yeah, we should have. But I'm not going to nitpick a Myers miss, just little things where we stalled out. They're and by the way, we have From the Flock, and From the Flock is not a clean sheet. So we will get to some outs through From the Flock. But I want to talk about these ins. I thought they were ample, and I think they're deserving, and certainly the most robust game we've had in now, I think, was that once that's 2 and 5 and 7 in 7 weeks, right? So Q1, a lot early, which I liked. 11:23 to go. The Jets are at the Seahawks 33-yard line, right? So it's one of these things where we're up early, but they are moving the ball, especially on the ground to begin the game. You got White and shotgun. You got Carter set to his right. Seattle lines up 6 dudes just straight across the line. And that includes, again, you got Brooks in a 2-point stance right between the left tackle and left guard. We saw this a couple of times. So Nwosu later in the game, right kind of over the center and guard, actually, in a two-point stance. I like this. I was like, oh, this is a little spicy. We haven't seen too much of this. Yeah, careful. It was a little spicy. And in this particular play, I want to give some love to Brooks. Obviously, we got the news that he, blew out an ACL. He's going to have surgery. Best of luck to a very good linebacker. Come back as good and as fast and healthy next year. This particular play is where we're lining up 6 on the hike. One of the dudes drops back. I forget who it is, but Brooks is blitzing. So you get exactly what you want, where the center kind of goes right, opens a big gap, and Brooks shoots right through it. So Michael Carter comes across, and Carter does what he's supposed to do, right? He goes low on Brooks, but the play Brooks makes to like get upended, cartwheeled about over, but he plants his arm down, like just gives himself enough of like a stabilization, plants his arm, and he's able to not only keep his feet, but keep his momentum towards Mike White and get up and get back up to speed in a heartbeat, Brandon. And then he's in Mike White's face. He has to kind of roll out, throws up an ill-advised pass, and all we see is Quandre Diggs, humming down the field with the ball in his hand like this, which was kind of funny. But all the love and all the glory to Brooks. Nice block by Carter, but man, I like when we blitz Brooks, we blitz Barton, and I've been calling for more of it. So love this. Helped to cause a turnover. He's out for the year, but let's honor the man now. Brooks on this stellar blitz. What do you think?
Let's honor Brooks. Let's honor Quandre Diggs, who I think it was the only player over the last 6 seasons with 3 or more interceptions.
Yes.
It's a pretty wild stat for, really 3 interceptions, not all that huge of a number, but over the span of 6 seasons, to be able to do that consistently.
That's the
and
word.
for most of those years being with the Seahawks, a pretty incredible accomplishment for Quandre Diggs.
Yep, that's you said that. I was waiting to see. Like, would he say the word, the C word, in a good way, consistent? It's difficult because there's a lot of variability with interceptions. That's what it is.
Interceptions, injury, luck.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's just
good point.
The fact that he's been on the field consistently that over that span of years, and it took him until week 17 of the season to get that third one. But he's let a few of them pop off his chest in some of these weeks too. He should have had it a whole lot earlier. Nice to see Quandre get it here.
Yeah, I love that call out. But you're right? I mean, like the fact that he is out there and healthy in week 17 after last year. What was it? The last game of the season, right?
Yeah.
That he got hurt and blew out his knee, right? So, not a perfect year by Quandre, but also we ain't dead yet. This year ain't over. We'll talk later about all that.
Selfishly, I did want to wait and give Quandre my Brandan because I did make him my wish player.
Yes.
On the preview show with the protector. So I'm safe. I got another one though. I got another one locked up.
When we go 6 ins, you have to have like a reservoir of a few brand that you could get to. So that's our second in. Hey, Brooks, heal up, get right. Until then, we'll see Muse out there looking pretty good, and hopefully we'll see in week 18, see what he could do, and hopefully, just hopefully, we also get to see Muse in a playoff game. We shall see. All right, whammy, we're staying in town. Let's go. We're not only staying in town, Brandon. We're staying right in quarter 1 because this game was won many ways. Like, can you win a game in the fourth quarter? Sure. Can you win a game in the first quarter? Yeah, turns out you can when you go up 17-3 and turn the tables, right, on your opponents. So, Brandon, quarter 1, 12:25 to go. Is that right? I guess so. Jets at Seattle 36. Once again, the Jets are moving the ball. 1st and 10. We are up 17-3 at this point. Seattle's in a 3-4. White's in shotgun. He's got night offset. The Jets pull their right tackle and right guard in this play. It's just a handoff, nice little handoff tonight. And they pull both their dudes. And the play, we've been talking about number 53 for a while now. Number 52 just been racking up the sacks these last couple of weeks and playing some darn good football. But kind of like just the steady Eddie has been Boye Mafe. On this particular play, Brandon, he has to kind of recognize right away, not get too deep that he's got, a guard and a tackle pulling his way. He has to engage with number 66 Duvernay, who I think is their right guard. I'm sure it is. And stands him up, sheds the dude, and then down the line with a tandem with Tariq, tackle for a loss right in that play. It just, I love what I'm seeing from Mafe, Brandon, like consistency in setting the edge and making really good tackles. I think it's harder. Like Aiden Hutchinson's having a darn good year, right? Seven sacks, 3 interceptions. I don't know if you saw this week's interception. That was actually really quirky, really fun. If you haven't seen it, very worth checking that out on Twitter, how he got that pick.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Aiden Hutchinson's having a pretty darn good year for Detroit. That's cool. I realize Maffei's only got 2 sacks. I'm going to argue vehemently that playing the run really efficiently and really, really well is, I think, harder for a rookie versus than just being an edge guy that can rush. I'm not even selling Aiden short or saying that's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the other parts can be learned and progressed and worked on, specifically in the off season. But seeing him be this good against the run this quickly, I don't know. All the other Seahawks rookies are getting the love. I want to keep putting the spotlight on Maffei and say, don't sleep on that dude. He's been darn good. Just another play of him showing out exactly what he's all about, man.
It's his path toward getting more consistent playing time. And that's one of the things I always like to look for after a week of Seahawks football is how did snaps shake out between Maffei and Bruce Irvin? Because we've seen Irvin in a lot early in games, even playing running downs. And I actually want to see Maffei out there more. And we saw him more this week. We saw 25 snaps out of Boye Maffei, only 11 snaps out of Bruce Irvin. So I felt like I saw him out there a lot more, but it was actually Darrell Taylor who was able to see the field a lot more in this game because they were so effective at stopping the run early. And so, yeah, we got to see a lot of Darrell Taylor. And so moving forward, I don't think you can count on Bruce Irvin even necessarily coming back next season. But if you have that type of pairing with Boye Maffei, if he can come on the field early in games, if you see Darrell Taylor out there on third down and that's where they're doing the swap between Maffei and Taylor,
cool.
Then I could see that working out. And maybe, you go and you draft somebody else who can be more of that on the field pass rusher consistently down in and down out. I don't mind those guys sharing snaps necessarily if you can have that kind of effectiveness that we saw in this game against the Jets.
Brandon, this is a lovely doubles volley. You just did that analysis is honestly so spot on. I'm not kissing your butt. That's perfect, man. That's perfect because it's that 1-2 because the last few weeks, all we've been saying is like, holy crap. We as an offense, we're living in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12. And lo and behold, we can't convert. And Gino's under consistent duress. And Gino's making bad decisions. Well, no crap. On 3rd and 11 with a banged up team at this point, he's making bad decisions. No, it ain't rocket surgery, right? And the inverse is also true for these other teams. When we do the exact opposite, when we're in 3rd and 4, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 5 offensively, and we have the option to run the ball or throw something short, we're more effective. And when we get them in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 defensively, and Taylor can go tee off and get 2.5 sacks because we're really playing the run well, lo and behold, football is actually pretty damn simple when you play it that way. So did you happen to have a chance to listen to Rob Staten's reaction show?
No.
Okay. So I had to take my kids somewhere today and had about an hour to kill. So I popped it on. It was, and I think Rob is a very smart dude and I think he's a good analyst. He knows the game well. He knows football well. It was
Rob Slam incoming in 5, 4, 3.
And they spent the first 5 minutes about how he played poorly and like how this didn't matter. And they like got on to like quarterback talk and like Will Levis and everybody, Stroud, everybody else. And I'm sitting there going like, did I miss something? Like, did I miss where we played poorly in this game? Because what I saw, like if I look at the very, very centerpiece of we were in 3rd and short more often, and we put the other team in 3rd and long more often. If that's the only thing you look at, that was completely inverted from what we've seen for a lot of chunks of this year. So to me, I just like to put things in boxes and simplify that and say, that felt good. It felt like we played pretty well. And I want to see how you felt about it.
I didn't feel like we were playing poorly. I felt like we were playing with the handicap that Pete Carroll really wanted to go after Sauce Gardner and consistently did that to the point that it impact the effectiveness of the offense. And I thought they could have been more effective on offense had they just chosen not to throw Gardner's way when he was covering up the receivers that were covered, but he was trying to show that disparity for Woolen. I kind of appreciated it just because of the fact that they had the game in hand so quickly. If they would have done that to the point to where it was impacting the team, and it was, I don't know, a 14-10 game, like they weren't up 2 scores for most of the game, then I would have been kind of pissed about it. But the fact that they had the game in hand, yeah, I was fine with it. Why not?
Yeah, just try. They were trying that. It was. I do wonder if it was a bit of just like hubris, moxie, some mixture of that. Just trying
to. He was competitive.
Right.
I think one, it was competition for Pete Carroll, with it being his former team. He knows that Geno was competing because the Jets, his former team, but I think he also understands the defensive rookie of the year matchup that's happening with these two corners. And yeah, maybe he wanted to make Gardner look a little silly. That's why they were targeting him in those in zone shots consistently, and it didn't work out. Yeah, which is fine.
It is fine. It is fine because we still waxed them, and they're now they got to answer. And again, I live in Connecticut. I listen to WFAN for good chunks of the day, and it was just a lot of very, very sad Jets fans. Happy Giants fans. A lot of sad Jets fans.
Just the way you like it.
Yeah, I kind of little some jet green tears don't make me sad, Brand. That's for sure. Nicely. We are sticking. We're all in here. We are all in. So what are we? We're through 3. Yeah, right. We're through 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're gonna flip it. We're still in the first half of this game. A little later, quarter 2. Seattle. We're at the Jets 42. It's a 3rd and 4. This play, flatly, is that play where it's a Geno and shotgun, snap to Geno, and it's the clear run left. The Geno run the ball left, go get the first down. Youngish man. Love the play call. We talked about that in the reaction show, that we had not seen it since early in the season. It's kind of a Josh Allen special. Allen does that 2 to 4 times a game. Very difficult to bring him down. Geno, by the way, goes for, I think, 11 yards on this particular play. It's a 10 or 11 yard run. Again, the blocking. This was really cool to see. There was 2 people again. I already talked about Parkinson, but Parkinson absolutely pancakes Lawson, pancakes him. It's lovely. First of all, seals him, drives him, pancakes him. That's the hat trick. That's the trifecta of tight end blocking. With that, I want to call out and let people say again, Q2 120 to go. Go watch Charles Cross. Go watch Cross's, when they talk about like a dancing bear, like just an athletic big guy back there. Man, the way he's out of the chute, the way he comes out and kicks out the I think it's a DB, whoever it is, that he just dismisses it and he just blows open a huge hole. So between Parkinson sealing the deal inside, Cross coming around really, really fast for that kind of a big dude, man, with that kind of momentum, the DB has no shot whatsoever. And Geno just has a lane to run through with still DeeJay Dallas ahead of him as another, almost the fullback, if you will, in that metaphor. Lovely execution, great play. And just seeing Cross out in the open, man, that athleticism jumped off the page to me, Brandon. And I wanted to shine a little limelight on it, man.
Well, I know that you don't peek at the PFF grades before we record the show. So I like to point out when your eyeballs match up with what the folks at PFF see. Charles Cross, the number 1 graded run blocker for the Seahawks on Sunday. And, he was followed up by Colby Parkinson.
Oh, wow. Wow.
For the Seahawks on Sunday. And Colby, when you talk about his efficiency in blocking, the only player on the Seahawks offense to grade out positively in both the pass game and blocking and in the run game and blocking, I will couch that by saying that he did only have 1 pass blocking snap referenced by PFF, but the fact that he graded out highly, he also graded out highly in the pass game too, with his 28 pass routes run. And an overall good day by Colby and Charles Cross.
Yeah, that's cool. I did not know that. That's really cool to get the validation from the eye test. Talking about Parkinson for a little bit, I wasn't surprised about the 5 receptions. In fact, I called for five. It was a wish on what if, but I fully expected Parkinson to get. I knew the game plan going in was like it's going to be difficult on the outside. We're going to try and run the ball, and we're going to use our tight ends. Okay. Fant is dinged up all week, and Disley is on IR. All right, ball's got to go somewhere. Hollister was not going to be ready yet. Okay, so I knew the volume.
Definitely to Mabry.
Yeah.
big game by Tyler Mabry.
Yes, definitely Mabry is a great 90s album for sure. And so I wasn't surprised about the volume to Parkinson. I was really like watching and enamored with his tenacity, run blocking. I mean, that was like, we were like, oh, he can't do it. And when I say we, I've said it, right? Like, it's not his thing. He's a big 6'7" guy. He's not aggressive inside. He's not a good run blocker. I don't know, Brandon. I mean, but besides the stats, did he pop out to you as a run blocker also?
Yeah, I think he's probably going to see himself filling in more in this role. It got him on the field for 58 snaps in this game. 29 run blocking snaps, which exceeded only, I think everybody except for the 5 members of the offensive line. So, yeah, he was the guy that Pete was counting on in this game, that Shane Waldron was counting on this game, and he delivered.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it was really, really cool to see. It's always nice when you're surprised. And this has been a bit of a year, I think, across the board. At 8-8, we got a shot to make the playoffs going into the last week. Yeah, we had our share of games we should have won. I would still classify this entire year as upside, joyous, and full of little surprises. And Parkinson with the late surprise, man, I hope he can carry that over into week 18 and just keep starring, which would be really, really cool. All right. We got 2 more ins to get to. Let's whammy that thing. There it is. I like it.
That's the windmill whammy.
That's the wind. That is the wind. That was very Dominique Wilkins whammy right there, which I like. All right. We're sticking in Q2. So much happened in the first quarter. What I want to say about this particular play is the Jets had chances when it was 17-3, when it was 17-6, when so that particular drive, like we get that 3rd and 4 run, and we stall right there. There's a penalty, there's a sack, and we have to punt. On the particular punt with 59 seconds left, gorgeous punt by Dixon. So I got to give the love to Dixon to down the ball at the half-yard line, though. The in to Dariq Young to have the sense and sensibility, the pride and prejudice, if you will, I'm not sure that works, to sit there and like have the confidence to watch the ball bounce at the 5 or 6 and track it to the half-yard line. Where in my brain, I'm like, grab it. And he does it expertly, half-yard line. And to me, I thought for sure Jets would get a first down, maybe, and then just like kneel the ball because they weren't going too far, too fast. And Saleh had some other ideas. We keep him off the board anyway, but those 4 or 5 yards, it could have been a major difference in the Jets getting 3 or having some more breathing room. Beautifully done by Dariq Young. Have to give it in because that's the cranny of all crannies, man.
Well, and if you think to the very next play too, it was Tariq Woolen on the outside giving just enough space, and he nearly broke quickly enough on that ball to be able to have that short pick 6.
Yep.
And so if Dariq Young doesn't pin it down as deep, maybe then Woolen isn't playing off, trying to bait that throw. And yes, if he just is able to get to it just a split second more quickly, then we're talking about another touchdown before the half, and it is set up by this Dariq Young play on special teams.
Tariq was so close on, I think that one, and then later in the game as well, where he really cuts in front of, I forget who it was, Elijah Moore or somebody. Man, Tariq played really well again. It's just like, it's like a NASA launch in like the mid 90s. It almost becomes boring, dare I say, to watch a 6'4" rookie you could run a 4.26 because you start to expect it. And it's like, no, step back and appreciate that we're launching humans into space and, doing things at a space station, right? Like it's miraculous each and every time, even if it's consistent. He's just becoming like that kind of level of consistency. And it's a thrill, man. A 5th rounder, again, the surprising season, 5th rounder, Pro Bowler, possibly all pro. Come on. I love it so much. Anything else on Derek or anything you saw from special teams?
No, that's Tariq and Derek. Those are our 2 call outs for this in.
All right, let's keep on rocking and let's get to that last in because we got more to do here. I love it. More windmill. All right, now we're finally into quarter 3. We had an all-in show. First 5 were in the first half because that's what happens when you take a commanding lead and play good defense in I'd say clutch spots as well. This one, Q3, 1:08 to go. Seattle is on our own 35-yard line. It's 2nd and 6. It's been a weird quarter. We only get the 1 field goal. It's 20-6 at this point. Jets are still kind of hanging around, but not really because they're playing good D. I love this play, man. Gino, he's under center, which, by the way, under center runs came back to life. That was cool, whether it was K9 or whether it was the guy I want to talk about right here. DeeJay Dallas gets a handoff. It's nice blocking for the most part. However, D-Lou gets beat on this play. So Damian Lewis gets beat. Mosley beats him. D-Lou, there's no outs, so I'm not gonna crap on anybody.
If there were outs,
if there were an out, I would say, what's he doing? Like he gets to the second level, doesn't really hit Mosley with a lot of oomph. Let's put it that way. Mosley easily gets around him. He meets DeeJay like in the hole about 1.5 yards downfield now. And this is the play where DeeJay hits him, meets him, and just plows through 2 Jets, so it's a 2nd and 6. He gets like 7 on this play. And to me, it was so emblematic of 2 things. Running under center, that was to have a full steam ahead type thing. When the running back gets the ball, we saw a lot more of that. And DeeJay Dallas, he played a really good game. This to me was it's not the shining moment because that's probably the shuffle pass, but like it was the one that was the micro moment that was like, oh man, DeeJay's really, really brought his biggest kind of set of balls today. Smashes through Mosley, some other Jet, I don't even remember who it is, gets 7 yards, moves the chain. We actually end up missing the field goal, I believe, on that drive, but who cares? We eat up a lot more clock and we just start to take the soul away from the Jets because they can't tackle all of a sudden because DeeJay Dallas is like, not today. So love giving this to DeeJay. I thought he was almost the man of the match in many, many different ways. DeeJay Dallas, big in. What say you?
Well, I mean, when you pair DeeJay Dallas and K9 and you have them together compiling over 200 yards of offense, I think this is maybe more the way we saw this offense going when it was clicking. Not necessarily expecting Geno Smith to have the kind of season that he's had this year. I mentioned it out on Twitter today. Geno Smith is 150 yards away from setting the franchise record in passing yards.
It's not
sure they added another game to the season, but once he does that, once he throws for more than 150 yards, he's going to be in the record books as the Seahawks most prolific passer in one season in history. And so I think it's because a game like this where, and I'll go back to DeeJay Dallas and Ken Walker.
Take your time. You could do Cadillac trot around these bases, Brandon. You do you. I'm here for it.
I like the complementary trio of these, especially on a day where, DK Metcalf in the stat sheet doesn't show up a whole lot. Tyler Lockett's hurt. He's able to show just a tremendous effort to get out there on the field, gets hurt again, and then shows a tremendous effort to get back out there and play some snaps in the second half too. The fact that DeeJay Dallas could be that other complementary piece was huge. On the PFF stat sheet, he was the highest graded member of the Seahawks.
Spicy.
Definitely on offense. Let's see. Let me switch over to defense just to see. I can't say it on defense too, but he was the highest graded offensive player by PFF ranking.
Wow. It's to say one more nice thing about DeeJay. I am not a huge DeeJay guy as a punt returner. I just think his 0 to full speed is not good enough for a punt returner. Like now catching the ball and being secure is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? That's you got to do that as a punt returner. And there, he's at least a B plus. You know, he secures the ball. Cool. His 0 to get up is not really great punt returning. Again, that's almost tantamount. Oh, I don't know, as if you're handing the ball off to a guy out of shotgun.
Right.
I mean, it's basically the same darn thing, right?
Get him running downhill.
Yes,
with you know, the quarterback under center.
That's
and
it,
DeeJay
man.
Dallas,
Like,
I think, can be as effective as a runner as we want for a number 2 running back.
Yep. And I don't want to see us go back to, listen, there was Williams there, right? A couple of weeks ago, they're like, well, we weren't under center because Bosa could cause havoc. Okay. Well, then Chris Jones caused havoc. Okay. Williams didn't. So kudos to the plan to take care of him and the execution. All right. We go play the Rams. The Rams are still talented. For the love of Pete, let's not go back to running exclusively out of shotgun. Like, the under center where those 2 running backs, both of them, can get ahead of steam and get upfield, night and day difference. They're similar in the sense that Walker could absolutely get going faster, and he likes to dance a little bit, especially if he doesn't see it right away.
Yeah.
I saw enough times in this particular game, talking about Walker for a second, he wasn't perfect. There was still times like, come on, dude, stop dancing. But there were still other times where it's like he took it, and then it was like, all right, it's a 2-yard gain. Wait a second, it's a 5-yard gain. Oh, it's a 3-yard gain. Wait a second, it's a 4.5-yard gain because
he had a spin move in this game where going to the outside where he hit the hole, he did a jump step, and then he spun and was able to pick up. Was he able to get the first down on that play? That
was the first. That was like a 12-yard gain too. Do you know who he spun away from? Do you know that saucy number?
Well, I knew he had one spin against Gardner, but I thought it was a play to the inside where he spun move out of him too. But maybe I'm thinking of the same play.
Well, he had a couple. He actually tried to hit the B button a couple times. One time he spun right into a big hit. Like he spins it, boom, he gets leveled by the tackle. That might have been Williams, kind of crashing down. But 2 other times, one, he gets outside of Gardner with the spin move. That's the one I think we're thinking about. The other one was where he catches the ball. He catches the ball in the flat, and he does that really nifty spin move, and he also gets a first down that play. So you know, when we do 6 ends and we're talking about DeeJay Dallas, and you talked about the combo package, I'm going to start glowing. This was the type of game. That's why I didn't quite understand someone not being happy about this win. I didn't get it. It's like, this was the type of game where, you know, Pete said it and Gino said it, and I think we felt it. It's like, okay, that was Seahawks football. That's how we are supposed to play. So we'll see if we can carry it into week 18. I'm hopeful, Brandon. I'm very hopeful. But you know, before we close out these 6 here, anything else you'd like to say about, you know, other efforts before we get to our cherry, our sprinkles, our whipped cream, our crushed nuts?
The point to where I could take it in negativity is just the idea that did the defense play really, really well, or did Mike White miss a lot of open opportunities to where it could have moved the Jets down the field? If it were a different quarterback behind center for the Jets that could hit short passes with accuracy, then then they don't score just 6 points against the Seahawks defense. It probably looks a whole lot closer. But,
likely, I agree with you. I agree. I think there was also, you know, yes, he was hurt. Apparently he had to go to like a bunch of doctors to get cleared. So he had the flap jacket and the whole thing, and that can't be easy. With all of that, we still, you know, Mike White wasn't taxed with blocking for himself, and we were consistently back there.
Something we haven't seen routinely with the Seahawks.
So that changed a lot too. So it's just tough to look at it in a vacuum and say he was inaccurate. Yes, he was at times. But there was also times where we put duress on a dude, and when he's not a Mahomes type, or even when he is, your accuracy is going to take a drop pretty dramatically too, especially when you're Mike White or Brock Purdy. I'm still not sold on Purdy.
I'm not either. But
yeah, good. I want
get to face him in week 1 of the playoffs.
I want that 3 match. It's not a rematch. I want that 3 match. You know, what do you, patent pending, 3 match. All right, Brandon, let's hit that whammy so we can get to one more lovely cherry on top. Bingo. There you go. Dominique style. I love Dominique. What a great era of basketball in general. I mean, who was your favorite 90s, late 80s, 90s basketball guy?
Ooh, what, like Michael Jordan?
Yeah, like that era, yeah. Was it MJ? Was it
I would always have been more of the underdog fan. And so to go with someone who was kind of under the radar, even for that era, I kind of got to go with Clyde the Glide.
Yes, that was my favorite player, man. I loved him. I loved Kemp. I mean, I was a Sonics fan, but Drexler was my favorite NBA player. I loved Drexler and also playing
Gary
like
Payton. I mean, the glove.
Well, the glove was great. I love Dominique. But I love Drexler, man. Drexler to me was just anybody who looks so smooth. Like Sam Perkins. Love Sam Perkins just because he looked like he was high the entire time. Likely was. But what a smooth, big lefty shot, like from the corner. Love Sam Perkins. But Drexler's game, like this is how you know I love them. When I'm playing Sega Genesis, I would always be the Blazers. Like I wanted to be the Blazers every single time.
Sonics fan, that regional.
Living on the East Coast, I didn't feel the tug, the mental tug or the heart tug. I could just like appreciate Clyde the Glide and then cheer for the Sonics when it was time for the Sonics to go whoop on the Blazers. Because for the most part, the Sonics were for the most part a better team. Yeah. I know both made the finals in that same stretch and both lost to Jordan in that same stretch. And say la vie. All right, but we are into this stretch right here, Brandon, where we have 6 ins. We get the win. We started with an in. Not only when we win do we start with an in, but we also have one extra, which we call the brand in. It's all yours. You could take it away. I sit back. I don't know what you're going to talk about, but I want to hear about it. So what is your brand in for week 17? With this amazing W versus these Jets suck.
Well, when you started off with the first offensive play of the game, I knew that I wanted to go back to this because it make it a circular, all good things. And we have DK Metcalf. Think back to that first play of the game. Do you remember at all where DK was on the field?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm picturing it. I know who's, getting the handoff. Is he just wide left? I don't know.
He is not wide left. He is lined up wide right against Ahmad Sauce Gardner.
Okay.
So on that first play of the game, we remember the Walker run.
Yes.
And then you really don't see a whole lot of DK in the frame until right at the end. And DK is Buddha Baker sprinting down the field like he's trying to run him down after that interception. And you see his arms pumping. He's trying to take the angle that just in case he had to cut off Sauce Gardner, who would have been the only other guy able to make that tackle before the safety was able to come in and trip up Walker. He was taking that angle so he could try and get ahead of Gardner to cut him off if he needed to make that last block necessary for Walker to score the touchdown. And he was not lined up on the left side of the offense. He was completely on the right side of the field, on the opposite side. I think most other receivers feel like they could just take the play off because it's not to their play side anyway. But DK Metcalf, full on sprinter speeding down the field for just that possible opportunity to make a key block. DK Metcalf is my in.
Oh, wow. That's once again, we've luckily, or maybe not luck, but we've had 8 Brandons this year because we're 8-8. A big kudos to you because you've been crushing them even in a game where I take all 6. Where I greedily take 6 off the board from you. And we talked about like a 7th or 8th. Within that, you still come up with this ultimate nook, this ultimate cranny. And I didn't even see it. I got to go back and rewatch this, but I will happily
go back and watch it.
I will.
You don't have to go that far into the recap. You can
it's right there
on the YouTube does the NFL recaps where it's like 15 minutes.
Yep. And that play will be there.
And watch 10 seconds into that YouTube recap. And you can see DK Metcalf's effort. Because he had to run being on the opposite side of the field, he probably had to run 80 yards on that play just to attempt to have the opportunity to make that block. And on a day where on the stat sheet, he only shows up with 3 yards on 1 catch, it's that kind of effort that I think goes unnoticed most of the time.
Love it. Love it very much. And I love that, I'm not going to say win, lose, or draw. I'm just going to say playoffs are not next week. DK gets that one last crack against what is his arch nemesis, right? He gets that one last chance against Ramsey in this year. So that is going to be fun to watch. I cannot wait for that. Yes. And Ryan talking on the YouTube saying that is a true cranny Brandan. It is.
I like to point out when DK does awesome things, because I feel like the announcers on the broadcast, like when he was savagely blocking Gardner on one play in that game, the announcers go, "Oh, DK Metcalf showing his frustration of taking it out on Gardner on the run block." No, announcers, DK blocks like that all the time.
Yeah, he just likes to play football.
He's just an aggressive run blocker. He's not frustrated. That's just how he plays.
Yep. It's and he'll get called for the occasional hold. We've seen that, right? And it's okay in my opinion, because it's the dude who's like not afraid to make the mistake, who's going to go all. It's like, okay, like you watch a tennis match, and typically the person with more unforced errors actually wins, because they're being the aggressor and they're okay. They're like, okay, sometimes I'm gonna try to pin this down the line and I'm gonna hit the net, or it's gonna be a little bit wide, but they're going for the kill shot because they have the confidence to do it. Of course, DK is a confident fella, as he ought to be. So I love that call out. And yeah, DK does do those little things, which is really nice. All right, so we got your great Brandan. Now we have to revolve this over to the MVC, the most valuable cranny. Brandan, I love yours so much. However, this week I'm gonna say, listen, I'm gonna say that I want to give this to Parkinson. For me is the surprise element here. Maybe it should or should not weigh in on the MVC voting, but in the heart of hearts, it's what I remember. And I know I'm pointing to my heart saying I remember it, because that's where I still feel it. So I do believe it's right here. Parkinson on his
already the trophy was already engraved with with Parkinson's name on it. If we were to scratch it out and put DK, then you
look sloppy.
Then you have to ask the engraver to also carve the abs into the statue. that would take extra time, probably cost a little bit extra. Colby, very deserving.
Colby deserves it. I think for Colby's, we should put just like a little wig on it, though. A little like long hair,
flowing hair.
Yeah, Eddie from Stranger Things.
If he didn't have the hair.
Correct. That fooled me. I'll tell you that much. All right, so the MVC, the very real trophy that we're going to ship to the VMAC after it's 3D printed and put the faceplate on there for the etching for Parkinson, goes to Colby. He is the most valuable cranny winner of the week. It was lovely. Okay, so Brandan, we had the MVC, we had the Brandan, we went through 6 ins. We still got one section to go. Remind the good viewers, what are we about to do and how can they get involved with it?
Yes, we are going to hear from our flock. When we go through 3 in, 3 out, we like to save our flock for the end. We hear from them, the ins, the outs, and a good place to do it is in our Discord channel. If you become a member of the flock, you can go to getintheflock.com, become a member there. $3 and above gets you into our Discord channel. There's a channel there just for your ins and your outs, which is where we are going to start. You can also, though, contribute via Twitter, @ClintonBond, tweet @Mr. Clinton, and yeah, use the hashtag 3i30 and you'll get your tweets read. Coming up right now.
Yes. All right. We're going to start with Car. She said one right before this in the Discord, but this one was great. She said, I got so excited, I knocked over a lamp. I think she was talking about the Kenneth Walker run to start the game. I'm pretty sure that's what she was thinking and saying. And if you start talking about a lamp, then I start thinking about I love lamp. And if we're talking Anchorman, I'm going to smile. So I want to start there, Car.
Bloody bootlace with the in. Young gets a nice block to help get a first down. 8 minutes left in the first quarter.
Gotta love sending the timestamp in there. So thank you, Bloody Bootlace. Good call. Right back to Car. She was busy early in. That great toss to Dallas leading to that great run was amazing. I thought Geno just dropped it at first. Of course, she's talking about Geno looking like he's going to run for it. The very last second, a little forward shovel to DeeJay. I think he went for 41 yards, which was the biggest single play in the entire game.
Apart from the run. But yes.
Right. Apart from the 60-yard run, which we just talked about several times. You're right.
But the biggest pass, right?
The biggest
totally,
pass. That's
totally correct.
That's what I meant.
Josh DeHuman with the end. Geno Smith utilizing tight ends effectively and efficiently, and into Ken Walker running like a workhorse he is.
And I'd love to say, we didn't talk much about Waldron much. I think the dude deserves a good amount of credit. This was a game where I think it was recognized that it's going to be difficult to get the ball outside based on stats and based on the talent on the field, and found a way to be super effective right in between the hashes with tight ends and running backs. And I think that was very much on purpose. So just want to give some love to Waldron. I think this is, it's always like, hey, you won, so it's your better game. Yeah, of course. But I think it was one of his more well thought out game plans that was executed properly. So kind of came together quite nicely. We got Chris Farnsworth out on Twitter at Chris Farnsward 14 in. I believe that was Mabry's first catch and touchdown. Chris, I believe you're right. First career touchdown, first career catch. It goes for a touchdown. Nice job. A little tight end dump, sits in the zone, perfectly placed ball, falls into the end zone. A dream come true. Loved it.
We got Charlie Malmberg coming in with the QB sweep as we're talking ins and outs. And we did shine a little bit of light on, with the MVC. That's part of the reason that Colby Parkinson was getting the MVC. It was because of the blocking on that QB sweep.
Yeah, and hit that next one too with Corey, if you don't mind. So stayed away from screen passes. Yes, we didn't screen pass, I don't think even once. We didn't talk about Barton at all.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you'd bring him up. I had like 6 or 7 different ins. I'm like, I got to whittle this down if I'm going to do all 6. Barton also
screen. He blew up a screen. Do the thing.
Yes, he did. He blew up a screen quite nicely, which was quite cool. I
think the Geno Smith fumble where he went to throw it, but I don't know if it either stuck to his hand or if he was trying to keep the grip. Well, it kind of hit Ken Walker's elbow a little bit as he was going into his throwing motion, but I think that was supposed to be a screen pass, and that ended up being a fumble.
Yep. You know what? That just shows us we shouldn't screen, right? Again, if folks didn't see the stats, I know I shared them out on Twitter and I tagged you on both of them, but there was, I think it was a Cowboy, was it Ben Baldwin, right? I forget his name out on Twitter, but he sends out lots of stat-based analysis, and he plots it against different graphs, and it was the two he shared kind of back to back that day were the team that gives up the most screens, like the worst defenders of screens and the worst executors of screens. And our Seattle Seahawks, it was so bad. Like we're the exact bottom quadrant on both the graphs that you don't want to be. And the shocking part was I knew we were bad, Brandon, at both, but the delta between like the 31st worst team was like the abyss. It was legit. It was like, wow, teams should do this a lot more against us, and we should never, ever, 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 ever screen again. That's how bad we are at both those things.
It makes you wish that we had a screen game coordinator on both offense and defense so we could fire that person just to say that we did something that hopefully we can correct next year.
I like that plan. Let's hire one. I also like Lloyd Zilla in the Discord. He goes big in for DeeJay Dallas, showing real grit, making first downs on the ground and catching the ball out of the backfield. Probably his best game of the season. And Lloyd Zilla, who is you over in UK. I agree, man. I think that was DJ's finest moment of the year. And again, we ain't done yet.
We got Carr with the out. It's 2023, and Myers is no longer money. Yes, the calendar flipped over to the odd year, and now Jason Myers is a normal average kicker who misses the goal sometimes.
Yeah, missed, was it a 41-yarder, right? That was, at the time, it's like late third quarter. We're up 14. It's like, put this game away. We miss what's pretty much a chip shot. That was, okay. No.
It could have been the difference in the game because you're thinking this was the opportunity to go up more than 2 scores. Yeah. It would be a 3-score game at that point. If the Jets are able to drive down then, and I think they may have picked up one of their explosive plays after the field goal miss, but then the defense does the thing where they end up stopping them, or, maybe Mike White missed one of his receivers again. But it ended up not mattering. but it had that potential to really flip the momentum of the game.
Yep, it was getting annoying is what it was. Never annoying in the Discord is Jean Bo. She says she was talking to Lloyd Zilla, says, yes, his overall fight, feisty out there about DeeJay. She also said Gino mostly having a good sense of the pressure and moving away from it. I thought Gino played a really, really solid game. Good decisions for the most part. I like what I saw from Gino. And one thing I do want to say about Jean Bo, not Gino, Brandon, is the very hoodie you're wearing right now. So Jean Bo wrote in and said, hey, where can I get one of those? So we stood up a quick little store. We'll share that later. However, Jean Bo connected with me. I ordered one for her. She Venmo'd me today. It's already shipped out to her. So if you're seeing anything you like on Brandon, or I've got the 3 in 3 out shirt here as well, they're available. They'll be available very soon. But if you want one before soon, just let us know. Send us a note on Facebook or Discord. We will arrange to get you one.
Brian Ball coming in with the live in. Clint Hurt with the defensive play calling.
Yeah, I mean, Hurt's been a bit of a bit of a punching bag a little bit. Not that I would recommend punching Coach Hurt, because he will squash me. But like literally. But he's been a bit of a kind of like no man's land all year, where it's like, is this his system? What system's working? What is this? They had a very solid game against these Jets, and I don't really care that it was the Jets. It's like, whatever. I've seen the Jets score points against teams earlier in the year with Mike White. They put up a ton of points versus the Bears, a ton of points versus the Vikings. I realize those are bad defenses, but our defense hasn't been good, and we held them to 6, which was friggin' awesome. All right, back to the Discord. We have Chris Boucher, aka Bobby Boucher. He says, I like this one. Jonathan Abram, with all the ups and downs, losing different players, et cetera, Abram has filled in nicely for Ryan Neal. I think it's a nice call out. I think, Abram could be out of position a little bit, but even in some of the plays where Tyler Conklin got some nice receptions, it wasn't like Abram wasn't there. Abram was like right on him a couple times, and Conklin made a nice reception. There was twice actually for probably like 40 yards where Conklin.
That one was just a perfect pass too, where Abram, could he have been able to do?
Nothing.
Yeah,
it wouldn't matter. It didn't matter. It didn't matter who you were, Abram or if you were Charles Woodson. It didn't matter. It was perfect, right? So I think it's a good call out from Boucher. Nobody said Abram's name yet, so a nice nook within the cranny.
I like it. A live out here from Sojin saying the NFL finding another way to screw us over, and he is referencing the Lions versus Packers going into that Sunday night time slot. And I don't necessarily feel like it's a way to screw us over, but it has the appearance that they want the Seahawks to go ahead and lose. And that way it makes that Packers-Lions game a game to where one of the teams wins and gets in. Because, if the Seahawks get the win over the Rams, once the Seahawks get the win over the Rams next week, then the Lions, they don't have as much to play for. They don't have a playoff spot to play for. Now, they do have a division rival, the motivation to knock a division rival out of the playoffs. They also have the motivation of having a winning record, a 9-8 team, a whole lot different than being an 8-9 team, because you have that opportunity to be a winner. So that part doesn't bother me as much as the appearance of it looking like the NFL wants the Seahawks to lose.
They screwed us. They are completely screwed, and it still might break our way, right? So it might be like, whatever, 6 days from now, it might be like, who cares? We're in the playoffs. It's all good. Your points are all correct. Everything you said about the Lions, right? Their coach will have them ready to play. They will play the game hard. I'm not concerned about that. It still is not the right thing to do from a competition standpoint. It's just not. Like, play the games in parallel, stagger them by 20 minutes if you got to stagger them a little bit, whatever. It's not at all the right thing to do. That those games should be being played in parallel. It does diminish. I know the Lions will be ready.
Not the right thing to do, because it gives the appearance that the NFL wants the Seahawks to lose to the Rams.
I just think it gives the Packers an advantage. That's what that's flatly. So Seattle is a 6.5 point favorite. So Vegas clearly thinks Seattle wins this game. Whether we do or not, knock on wood, we do. Let's put the pressure on the Packers regardless, right? It's still an advantage to the Packers because Detroit at some point, they could be as amped as they want to be amped. They don't have anything to play for. At the end of the day, they don't, so it's in my opinion, it's criminal, but it is what it is. And we could only kick ourselves for losing to the Raiders in overtime, the Falcons, the Saints, the Panthers, and the Bucks, and others. And with all that, it's still a bunch of crap.
I am going to go ahead and put at least $20 on the money line for the Rams, just in case.
A little hedge, a little insurance, right? So we do have Sojin asking us, we're back, we're still here live. Are you guys going to do a Lions versus Green Bay watch thing? So that would be a watch party. Brandon, we were discussing that. What do you think?
Once the Seahawks get the win over the Rams, absolutely watch party after the game on Sunday.
Oh man, we have to make sure Adam is ready. Whatever at that point, right? The Chargers will have already played the Broncos. Right. So that'll play out. And by the way, the Chargers got to win. The Chargers will want to win to get the 5 seed. It's very important that they get the 5 seed. Then they go play likely the Jaguars versus, either one of the top 3. Right. So that'll be very interesting. With that, we could take all the good let's ride juju. So that game will be over. I'm not saying beforehand, right? We let that game end and we take all that let's ride juju, and we got to ask Adam to come up with some sort of new Vex, something new to pour into that watch party, because we're going to need
it. We may need it. Well, we will see. Ryan saying, you finally got a store set up.
Yes, we did. I had a little extra time over the holidays. We do have a store set up. In fact, Brandon, why don't we just share it with the folks, because people are asking. I'll send you the link again in case you need it. But we'll get it out to the good folks. And, just know anybody out there, the markups, you buy it, you'll get it shipped directly to you. We kept the markups like as minimal as we could. It does support the show, but we also want to just get the merch out there, because, hey, if people want to wear the merch and wear it around their pubs and wear it around town, hey, that all raises the hawk grill, which I think is wonderful. The fact that people want to wear this stuff and have been asking for it is wonderful. And just, we're happy to oblige.
All right. I pasted it incorrectly the first time. And do it again. Make it a link that works.
That's okay. Yeah. All right. So we're back in the Discord. You want to take Frost under Chris Farnwar?
I'm busy trying to post a link.
Fine. I'll do it. Fine. I got Frost. He says he's money again. Talking about Myers coming back and getting the field goal that was good after missing the chipper shot. This entire team has some fight. Love to see that play. Let to see them play like this to finish off the season strong. Could not agree more. For the entire running offense, the blocking looked good. K9 and Dallas both were decisive and fast. Even Godwin.
I know why you didn't want to read.
No, I didn't know it was there. It's like Godwin, Igwebuike. Yes. Even Igwebuike had some opportunities. And defense making turnovers, getting consistent pressure, bottling up the run, -2 or 3 early runs. They really played a complete game. So a lot of good ins from Frost there. I can't argue with any of them.
Sojin no touchdown from the Jets on the day. Also in the Discord, Gene-Bo with the Gino shouting out the defense in the post game. So those two tie together perfectly.
Yep, 2 peas in a pod. The Jets have not scored a touchdown in now 7 quarters, and that makes this Long Island boy, that's me, laugh. All right, we got Jeremy Evergreen in the Discord. More DeeJay Dallas love. He was the perfect complement to K9 today. Doesn't get a lot of action, but he made the nose of them, which I kind of like. I'm gonna leave it just like that, typo and all.
And from Designed Pete's Beach House, Gino with the $1 million bonus.
Not a bad bonus, right? And also how freaking deserved. There's some great Gino stats besides the fact that he made the Pro Bowl. He is very close to 4,000 yards, right? Or maybe just went over. I think he's close to it.
Still a little shy.
Still a little shy. Okay, he's a little shy of 4,000 yards.
Oh, no. I think he made it over. I'll look.
Okay, and I do know that he is also he's got 29 touchdowns, right? So he is actually 4th in the league right now in touchdown throws. And it's like the obvious, it's like Mahomes, Allen, I think Burrow. That's it. And then Geno.
Geno did this on purpose. We wonder why he didn't have a better game this week against the Jets. He has 4,069 passing yards.
Nice. Jeremy
Evergreen out. Injuries. Hate to see Brooks go out with a knee injury. That did not look good at all.
No, didn't look good. Grateful that Muse did look pretty good. And, I'm not going to be fooled or jump to any conclusions that he's just as good as Brooks. But I'm hopeful that he could be efficient and get some time, especially this last week, and hopefully a playoff game or 4 to show what he's got. We got Guarantee in the Discord. He goes, I finally picked the Seahawks to win, and they won. Oh wait, I pick them every single week. I think he's also kind of throwing some shade to the folks in the Pick'em League, Brandon, who don't pick Seattle to win every single week.
Well, hopefully those people got burned by it this week. Then, if they did pick against our Seahawks. Phil in the Discord with the start of the second quarter. Woolen missed a tackle on the wide receiver, and Shelby Harris needed to run 25 yards to make a tackle while the safeties watched him. Out middle of the second, Stone getting destroyed by Franklin Myers that led to a drive-killing insta-sack. In, Woolen saving MJ's pick by diving on his fumbled return. Yeah. MJ gets his first interception and then almost turns it right back over, but Woolen was there to save the day.
Yeah, that was quite cool. And, the nice part too about, Stone gave up that sack, and we saw Cross get beat just around the end for one of the sacks also. And with that, again, I thought Stone Forsythe played pretty good football, right? So it's like, it is a nice thing to see that our
backup level football.
Yeah, which was okay. But to see our right tackle go down and Stone come in and play adequate.
Geno Effetti level without the penalties.
Do you say Geno Effetti?
Right. What was his name?
Jermaine
Effetti. I see.
Right.
With the
well, if you remember, he spelled it with a G though, so it wasn't like Jermaine with a J.
That's why I got confused.
Gotcha. Well, sometimes you confuse easy, but it's okay. Phil is back, and Phil does not confuse easy. I'll say this: he's a stoic gentleman. He says, "Out if the networks gift the Packers the Sunday Night Football game," and he goes on to talk about what it means and all that. They did, Phil, which absolutely I think is Pitts. They give them the Sunday Night Football game. It does take away from the competition, but we gotta just move on and win our game at this point. He does say in overall play for our interior O-line, not much pressure up the middle from a very good Jets defense and the creation of nice holes in the running game. All correct. Hey, take these next 2. I'm gonna go get Bloomies that I forgot to paste back in.
All right, Dr. G coming in with the in running game. What a difference it makes. And into the tight end room. Show me your TEs. Love seeing it from Dr. G. Also, Michael Dixon's big balls in the Discord. Everyone was playing their hearts out. K9 throwing a huge block on the big Fant reception. He had Shelby Harris chasing down number 10 on a breakaway catch in the second. He had defensive tackle Nwosu and DT Daryl Taylor, Nwosu, and Q Jeff having they're showing off their best defensive line play. Got an in. We played with that playoff confidence. In who the catfish is Tyler Mabry. In K9 spin cycle. And in Woolen is incredible at interceptions and fumble recoveries. Man, Woolen had a chance at a pick in this though too. And I would have loved to see Woolen get the pick. Yeah, Sauce has all those passes defense, but yeah, if Woolen were able to get a pick 6 in this game, and that would have showed everybody.
Maybe one in week 18 versus Mayfield, right, to cap off the rookie year would be amazing. And it wasn't like Woolen dropped an interception. He was just like close to a couple that would have been like killer, right? Just as awesome. But he didn't have like one in his hands or go off his face mask as we've seen from some other Seahawks.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna hit the old enter Sandman. We're gonna call in Hawk Van Dyke, who is of course Bloomy. Before I say this, do want to give a shout out to both Jason Bonnert, B-O, I think it's H-N-E-R-T, not me, Jason Bonnert and Bloomy, Dave Bloomquist. They are teeing off as we speak right now in the Seahawkers podcast Ring of Honor Fantasy Football League. There's 2 leagues, like there's a Premier League and like a second league. There's relegation. It's a great league we have on Sleeper. I'm involved with it. I was kicked out 2 weeks ago. Jason Bonnert took me down the playoffs 2 weeks ago. It's Bloomy versus Bonnert, and Bloomy has Burrow and Bass. He needs like 20 some odd points tonight between those dudes. He's favored to win. We shall see what happens. Good luck to both gentlemen. It's a great league. And oh, by the way, just another reason to get in the flock. So getintheflock.com. That's the Seahawkers Pod Ring of Honor on Facebook. So $12 a month or more or above. And then you'll be in the Facebook group. And if you like fantasy football, when that comes around next year, you could raise your hand and say you want to be involved. And heck, we might have a 3rd league next year because we got so many passionate football fans. With all that, Bloomy says in allowing only field goals in 2 wins over the team whose bright future you secured with Jamal Adams trade. Great call out there. Out. Let's be honest, relying on Rodgers to lose an elimination game in the last week at Lambeau is not a great situation. Even worse, it gives me PTSD of the 80s when we were habitually the best team to miss the playoffs. Too good to improve through the draft, not good enough for the dance. All true things, except for right now we hold the 3rd and 34th overall pick. Because of the Denver Broncos. So let's keep it that way or make it better. He finishes with an in. At least the donkeys will enable us to cancel half of that out. I probably should have read the whole thing before chiming in.
And it ties in with Ryan Ball coming in with a live in saying guaranteed top 5 pick in the draft. Yes. If the Broncos go crazy and win in the final week and the Cardinals end up taking the loss, which they probably should, then yeah, that moves. It's still a top 5 pick. It's not as high, but still guaranteed top 5.
But let's just 2 more seconds on that. Let's go the exact opposite, right? Let's go with the Vikings are landlocked.
Yeah.
Right? The Vikings are locked into the 3rd. That's what I believe, right? They can't move is my understanding of it.
No, even with the win, I think it would. Yeah, they should rest their players next week.
Because they're 12-4, right?
Maybe.
I think so. So we believe, we may be wrong. We think the Vikings are landlocked, meaning they can't move up or down. I think they're the 3.
I've messed with the playoff generator on ESPN enough to know the Vikings cannot improve their playoff position. They are locked into the 3 seed.
Okay, so they play the Bears. So if the Vikings are straight up resting all their players, which they should, because they can't get the bye, they can't improve their seeding. Cool. Hey, maybe the Bears get that victory. That would be awesome. And then just the Chargers, right? So Vikings get the victory. Chargers do want to play. They do want to secure the 5 seed. That's an important one to them. They're playing the Broncos. Just those 2 little worlds collide, and we are sitting at the 2 pick. There's only 31 picks this year in the first round because the Dolphins lost theirs, right, with the tampering thing. So that would mean the 2 and the 33. That would be quite lovely. In fact, it might be, if and when we make the playoffs, we'll have the 2, the 31st, and the 33rd. That's not bad.
That would be the most ideal situation.
Yeah, that is the nirvana of where we want to go because we're the Seahawks. Dude, Brandon, let's finish this thing strong. Let's not give up hope. What else could we want besides a watch party where we are all on pins and needles and there is a juju hex in the universe cast by Adam and we're sitting there as the 4th friggin' quarter in a tight Packers-Lions game after we demolished the friggin' Rams in week 18. What else could we want?
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Let's go.